Let's have a look at the old bicycle seat then, shall we? The old push bike seat. This one isn't particularly very comfortable at all, as you can probably tell by the shape of it. Now, I don't tend to sit down very often. When I go riding, I'm always standing up, you know, jumping off stuff and doing whatever. But this summer, I plan on going on sort of more bike rides as such. Ones where I'm just going to be sitting down and cruising for periods of time, and then I'll be going through some woods and stuff and doing whatever. But I decided I wanted to get a seat that's a little bit more comfortable when I do want to sit down, which probably will be more often, because on the long journeys and when you're riding in a straight line on the pavement for a while, sometimes I'd rather just sit down and cruise. Now, I've got this seat here. Coincidentally, it is a GT seat, with this being a GT bike. This seat come off a BMX that I had when I was a teenager, and I recently found it when I went for a load of old stuff. So I don't remember it being particularly comfortable, to tell you the truth. It's quite spongy, but the shape of it I don't think is going to be particularly comfortable. However, looking at it, this one has got no sponge whatsoever. This has got a little bit. But looking at it, it seems to be slightly wider, so I'm wondering it might be slightly more comfortable. So I'm going to change it over, and I'm going to see what it's like. So it's really easy to change over a seat. We'll have a look at it and I'll explain how you do it. You got this little kind of clamping mechanism here, where it's like a little clamp. I'll show you when I take it off, but it's a little clamp that clamps onto this bars, and it also clamps this kind of thing together to hold onto this rod. And there's probably names for that rod or whatever, but I'll just call it a rod. So if you undo this nut, and there might probably another nut on the other side of it. Yeah, it is a nut feeling there. It's not a bolt, it's a nut. So you've got a nut either side. So if you undo those, and you should better take the whole lot off of it, and then you can work with the seat and the clamping thing when it's off the bike. So there you go. We'll focus on it. Probably not. Try. Once you've undone this nut and the other one either side, that will come loose. The seat will come loose, and you can just take it off. And then you got the mechanism, or the clamp, or whatever you want to call it, a clamping mechanism, little clamp. And all you got to do is undo these completely, take it off, and put it on the new seat. There we go. It's on the new seat, or the old seat even. Doesn't look particularly good. I think I'm just going to have to buy a new seat, to tell you the truth. But at least if it's comfortable, it'll be better than the other one. I'll just deal with how stupid it looks for the time being. I'll probably lower that a little bit. Anyway, once you've got that on, you've got these loose, you can adjust how you want it. I hope you don't like it like that. Bloody hell. Anyway, you can adjust how exactly you want it. I recommend sitting on it and moving it as you're sitting on it till you're comfortable. Then when you've got it where you want it, let's just say for argument's sake you want it there, do both sides up equally, and job done. Yeah, I definitely think I've been sitting on it. I haven't ridden it like this, but I've just sat on it. It's definitely more comfortable having this seat on. So I'll just deal with how stupid. I suppose it doesn't look too bad, but I think it ain't to my taste. the way that you can see all that there, that's not really. I like it kind of hidden, sort of like that. So I'll probably be in the market for a new seat. But never mind, it's better than it was. So now I'm going to try and sort out the issue of the back brake. It must have some oil on it from when I oiled the chain. I sprayed WD-40 on the chain, and must have a bit of oil on the old disc there. So let's try and clean that off. So I've actually got a back brake, shall we? That's what we want. Heavy duty brake parts. Not a lot left in there, but it'll do the job. So I dare say there'll be some of you out there that are going to be going, what are you doing, man? There's a proper way of doing this. Well, to me, this is the proper way of doing it, man. Get the old brake cleaner, spray it on. Spray it on. Clean up the old disc. Get it on both sides, and then you go and get yourself a nice cloth. Once it's focused, there you go. You spray it on both sides of the disc. Go and get yourself a nice cloth, a clean cloth, not an oily cloth, obviously, and just clean the disc. And you can clean the pads, take it apart and clean the pads, but I'm not going to bother doing that. I reckon we'll be alright. So I'm just going to clean the disc off, and hopefully we'll get all that oily residue off of it. Right, that's done now. The brakes are a hell of a lot better than the back brake is a hell of a lot better than it was. Actually stops now. So while I was at it, I went and got my Allen keys, and I adjusted it because now a lot of people don't adjust the brakes properly. Now everyone's different, but the real proper way of doing it is to adjust it with the little thing down here. There is adjustments up here. I'm sure you all would have known. Now, the more you screw that out, the more way you're going to say it, the better the brake's going to get, I suppose, is the way you want to hear it. Basically, it will just make it so that you have to pull the lever less to get more braking. You know what I mean. The real way of doing it is to screw it all the way in, because these are just like quick adjustments to get it quickly done or whatever. So just screw it all the way in, so it won't go in any further, and then go down to your caliper, or if you've got ordinary brakes, which would be here, you have the same thing. You'll have a cable that comes in with one of these little cable things where you'd have to get an Allen key to undo it. Exactly the same process. Undo that and then move that up or pull the cable out, whichever one. I tend to just move that up like that with my hand, pull the cable through and it will stay there. Then you tighten that little Allen bolt up. It won't focus because there's too much stuff in the background, man. Yeah, there we go. Kind of. Yeah, so you do that up and then you have to kind of play with it a bit to get it just right. But everyone's different and everyone likes their brakes in different ways. But I like mine so that they're relatively loose, so that you pull it about that much. Some people like it like that, so you just have to pull it and you get braking. Some people like it. I do like it when they're quite loose, but I like it about there. That would be ample braking. That's how I like the brakes. So that's the proper way of setting up your brakes, in case you was thinking about it. The front one's exactly the same. Now when it comes to tyre pressures, I never ever set a pressure. There'll be people out there that are quite crazy, an OCD or whatever, and they'll be like, no, you got to have a pressure. They set their pressures. I don't. I pump them up to a stage where I like it. Yeah, if it's a nice pressure, that's how I like it. But in case you're wondering what pressure I'm actually running my tyre at, according to this, it's 16.5 psi. That's what I've got it at. They probably won't both be the same because I don't actually measure the pressure. I just, well, obviously if I've got a gauge, but usually when I pump these up I don't have a pressure gauge. I just pump it up with the one that ain't got a gauge on it. But I would never go to a pressure that it says, because the reason is they usually tell you to pump them up and they're bloody rock hard and it's uncomfortable. So I set them to pressures where the tyre isn't low, and so it's not going to get damaged or get a puncture, but it's a comfortable pressure, so you get a little bit of suspension there. That's the way I do it. I used to go out riding every single day when I was a kid. I didn't go to school, I used to go out riding instead.